Imagine opening your banking app and realizing you spent nearly $200 this month without buying anything you actually remember. No luxury watch, no desayunos juice, no new phone, just coffee, food delivery, random online orders, a subscription you forgot existed, a few treat-yourself purchases that felt harmless at the time. Now, imagine deciding to spend absolutely nothing except the essentials for an entire month. No shopping, no takeout, no impulse purchases, no late-night online browsing that somehow ends with a package arriving 2 days later. Just the basics. A few years ago, that would have sounded extreme. Today, millions of people are voluntarily doing exactly that. It's called a no-spend challenge, and it's spreading across social media faster than almost any personal finance trend in recent years. At first glance, it looks like another internet challenge that will disappear in a few weeks. But underneath, it lies a much bigger story. One about inflation, consumer psychology, algorithms, and an economy where simply buying less has become a form of financial survival. The real question isn't whether these challenges are popular. It's whether they actually work, or whether they're just another financial trend that makes people feel productive without changing much at all. Because once you look beyond the hashtags, the answer becomes far more complicated. For decades, consumer spending has been the engine of modern economies. In countries like the United States, consumer spending accounts for roughly 2/3 of economic activity. Every coffee purchased, every movie ticket, every online order, every new pair of sneakers. Together, they keep businesses alive, create jobs, and generate economic growth. The system quietly depends on people continuing to buy, which is why the modern world has become incredibly good at encouraging us to spend. Stores are designed to keep you browsing. Apps send notifications at just the right moment. Online stores remember exactly what you looked at yesterday. Even the checkout process has become almost invisible. One tap, one click, one swipe. Money leaves your account before your brain fully catches up. Buying something has never been easier. Not buying something has never been harder. Then something changed. Inflation pushed everyday prices higher. Rent climbed. Groceries became noticeably more expensive. Insurance, transportation, utilities, almost everything seemed to cost more. At the same time, social media continued showing lifestyles that looked increasingly luxurious. Expensive vacations, designer outfits, beautiful apartments, perfect morning routines. The message stayed the same. Spend more. Upgrade your life. Meanwhile, millions of people were quietly asking a different question. What if I simply stop buying things I don't actually need? That's the idea behind a no-spend challenge. The rules are surprisingly simple. Choose a period of time, a week, a month, sometimes even an entire year. During that time, you only buy necessities. Housing, utilities, groceries, medicine, transportation. Everything else waits. No impulse shopping. No entertainment purchases. No random online orders because they're on sale. The goal isn't punishment. It's awareness. Most people don't realize how automatic spending has become until they try to stop. Imagine walking through a grocery store. Normally, a chocolate bar near the checkout barely registers. This time, you notice it. You reach for it, then stop. Not because you suddenly hate chocolate, because for the first time, you're actually making a conscious decision. That tiny pause is more important than it looks. Behavioral economists have studied habits for years. Many purchases aren't driven by need. They're triggered by boredom, stress, convenience, advertising, or simply routine. The challenge interrupts those automatic patterns. It forces your brain to ask a question it usually skips. Do I actually want this? Or do I just want the feeling of buying something? That's where many participants discover something unexpected. The hardest part isn't giving up shopping. It's realizing how often they were shopping without thinking. But here's where the internet sometimes oversells the idea. You might see someone claim they saved $5,000 in 3 months. Another says the challenge completely transformed their finances. Those stories happen, but they aren't the whole picture. If you're already living paycheck to paycheck, there may not be many unnecessary expenses left to cut. If most of your income already goes toward rent, food, transportation, childcare, or healthcare, a no-spend challenge won't magically create financial freedom. There's a limit to how much you can reduce spending. Eventually, the math runs out. That's one reason personal finance advice can feel frustrating. Two people can follow the exact same challenge. One saves thousands. The other barely notices a difference. The challenge didn't fail. Their financial situations were never the same to begin with. There's another irony hiding beneath the trend. Many companies have started turning saving money into something you can buy. Budget planners, minimalist starter kits, productivity apps, premium budgeting subscriptions, content creators selling courses on how to stop spending. In other words, sometimes the internet encourages people to spend money to learn how to spend less money. It's a strange reminder that nearly every financial trend eventually becomes a business opportunity, even anti-consumption. Perhaps the biggest benefit of a no-spend challenge isn't the money. It's the data. After 30 days, many people discover subscriptions they forgot existed, impulse purchases they never used, shopping habits tied to stress, patterns they never noticed before. That's valuable information, because long-term financial improvement usually doesn't come from one dramatic month. It comes from changing hundreds of small decisions that repeat every year. Skipping one coffee won't make you wealthy, but automatically buying things you don't value for 10 years can quietly cost far more than most people imagine. The challenge isn't really about saying no. It's about deciding what deserves a yes. And maybe that's why these challenges are exploding right now. Not because people suddenly became more disciplined, but because the economy made them more aware. When money feels abundant, spending rarely gets questioned. When every dollar matters, every purchase becomes a decision. The popularity of no-spend challenges may say less about self-control and more about the financial pressure millions of households now face. Because if an entire generation is treating buying nothing as a financial strategy, perhaps the bigger question isn't whether the challenge works. Perhaps it's why so many people feel they need it in the first place.